Would you rather? Sometimes this game leads to which way is the worst way to die? Waterboarding, drowning, fire, old and alone, or buried alive? Well, how about this one? During surgery to have your organs removed. Let's talk about it on Azimuth Podcast. I'm Kimberly McNabb, and with me is Barrett McNabb.
Yeah, thanks, Kimberly. So when I saw the story that we're about to get to, it totally made me think of this George Carlin joke session that he has on being an organ donor. So let's take a quick look.
Organ donor programs. The thing that bothers me the most about it is they're run by the Motor Vehicle Bureau. I figure, hey, shit, you gotta wait on a line that long for a kidney. Fuck it, do without. It's the Motor Vehicle Bureau in most states who sends you the little card you're supposed to carry right next to your wallet, right next to your driver's license. In your wallet, little card, you're supposed to fill it out, and on it, you're supposed to list the organs you're willing to give in case you die. Oh, are these people out of their fucking minds or something? Do you honestly believe that if a paramedic finds that card on you in an automobile accident, he's going to try to save your life? Bullshit, he's looking for parts, man. Absolutely. Look, Dan, here's that lower intestine we've been looking for. Never mind the oxygen, this man's a donor. Bullshit, they want something of mine, they can have my rectum and my anus. That's all I'm giving. Take them and get out of here. Put them in your bag and get the fuck out of my life. That's all I'm giving. I don't want some guy poking around in me hoping I die. I want to live. I don't want to die. That's the whole secret of life. Not dying. I figured that shit out alone in 3rd grade. And don't be pulling any plugs on me either. Here's another bunch of macho asshole bullshit floating around this country. People talking about, oh, pull the plug on me. If I'm ever like that, if I'm comatose, if I'm like a vegetable, pull the plug on me. Fuck you! Leave my plug alone!
So we figured this would be appropriate for Halloween, but 3 years ago, a Kentucky man, T.J. Hoover, was deemed brain dead after an overdose. His family decided to take him off life support, and he was alive for 3 more days while his organs were tested because he was a registered organ donor. Now, during the walk to the operating room, Hoover's sister saw his eyes moving and was scoffed off by the medical staff as just being reflexes.
After he was alive for 3 days after pulling the plug, she was scoffed off.
Good God.
Well, Hoover was only about an hour into organ retrieval surgery when a doctor allegedly went to tell the family, well, he wasn't ready. He woke up. And they finally stopped the procedure because he was showing too many signs of life. An hour into surgery. Now, let's just go over the steps for the organ removal surgery.
Yeah, so again, these are all the things that he was going through when he woke up on the operating table. So the preparation, the donor is prepped and draped in a sterile environment. Extenuation, which means the blood is rapidly replaced with a preservation solution to lower the temperature of the organs. Then you go through the organ removal. The organs are extracted and placed in a sterile container on ice. Then the organs are typically removed in the following order: the heart, the lungs, the liver, the small bowel, the pancreas, and the kidneys. And if George Carlin, his rectum and his anus.
Well, I imagine he clearly, the doctor finally quit before removing the heart, but still to have these chemicals put into your organs to maintain the metabolism life of the cells of the organs so they could be transplanted, and these cooling agents and whatnot, stuff that's probably not meant to be in a living human being.
Oh yeah, this would just be an absolute nightmare, obviously, to be all of a sudden kind of wheeled and frozen in place, and your eyes are moving, and you're seeing your sister's concern. Hey, look, his eyes are open and he's looking at me, and
probably saw being wheeled into the
operating
room,
yeah.
like, oh.
And he's probably listening to the doctors talking about the steps they're going to go through and which organs they're going to yank out of him, and just as a miracle to all of a sudden show enough signs of life.
Finally convince people, stop!
Oh, maybe we should stop this because we're about to hack open a guy who's alive. It's crazy. But following this alleged organ retrieval gone wrong, this is back in 2021, his sister Donna Rohr was told to take her brother home to care for him and that he would not live very long. He's still alive today after 3 years. Now, the story has made the news because of witnesses coming forward and have now testified before the House Energy and Commerce Committee in September about what happened 3 years ago.
Well, I say this about anything. Anytime you ask why is this happening, I say follow the money.
Yeah.
That's usually the answer.
Right.
Follow the money or some sorts of power in it, but this is clearly about money. Organ procedure generates over $100,000 per major organ in either cost or revenue, depending on which side of the transaction you are. Transplant hospitals generally pay organ procurement organizations for each organ they transplant. Then the hospital performing the surgery then bills a payer, meaning insurance or Medicare, which we all love, they reject our things that we actually need. They bill the insurance companies for hundreds of thousands of dollars per surgery. A kidney transplant alone is $442,500. And if you combine that with a heart transplant, kidney heart transplant, it's $2.6 million that the health insurance or Medicare gets billed for. The more money moving around outside of public view, of course, there's greater potential for problems. Organ procurement organizations in at least 5 states are under active investigation for overbilling and fraud, and the offices and homes of 10 chief executive officers of the organ procurement organizations have been searched.
Now, of course, this could not be a solo instance of organ harvesting that's gone on alive patients. Greg Siegel also testified before the House Committee and Energy Committee, Commerce Committee, and he is the head of an advocacy group called Organize, seeking to reform the organ procurement process. Now, he alleged, without, now I just want to make sure he didn't provide any evidence of this, but he alleged that another OPO had given potential organ donors large doses of fentanyl to hasten their deaths. That's called murder. That's called murder. And, you know, I would think also, wouldn't that taint the organs?
The person that we're talking about, TJ, he had some sort of overdose himself.
Sure. Right.
So, I mean, I guess once they, get rid of any drug out of the organs they want to use, maybe some aren't viable depending on how hard the drug hit it.
Right.
Certain drugs interact with certain things more harshly. So I guess it just depends.
Yeah, but I mean, again, giving the fentanyl to someone so they're not dying quick enough. And so you're having to do that fentanyl. I mean, it just goes directly. George Carlin is such a mastermind. I miss him.
I would love to see him
today.
In the last 10 years. Yeah, the first cancel culture,
right.
And now the whole trans thing. I think he would just.
But he was always ahead of his time, predicting stuff, and here he goes.
He called this.
He called this straight on the nose.
Well, unfortunately, we're living in times where you really need to look, where's this headed? I mean,
right.
Other people may call you a conspiracy theorist, but what's the difference between truth and a conspiracy theory? I say 6 months.
Oh,
at most.
Yeah.
So what's not to say it's just organs? What about maybe using a whole body if you're brain dead? Well, per Fox News article from February of last year, a Norwegian professor suggested that brain dead men and women should be kept alive and used as whole body gestational surrogates.
Oh my God.
According to a report published in the Journal of Theoretical Medicine and Bioethics. I think they're not understanding the last syllable of that one. Ethics.
Yeah.
So it seems plausible to them that some people would be prepared to consider donating their whole bodies for gestational purposes, just as some people donate their body parts for science.
Okay.
But, this is weirder than you may think. Notice how the title of the article included men.
Right.
It includes men. So the report's author is even more insane. The prospect of the male gestator could thus appease some feminists who might otherwise feel that the brain-dead gestation is a step too far in the objectification of women's reproductive functions. They're brain dead.
Right.
They're brain dead. I don't think they care if you're only using the women. And where are you going to put? Surrogate means someone carrying a baby that's not theirs in their uterus. Where are you going to put the fetus?
There's not really an organ to do that with because they're men. They're not women. But this just conjures up visions of the Matrix, where human beings are being used as batteries to power these, the future robots and stuff like that. And we're just row upon row upon row of pods where we're going to be growing babies inside.
It's very disturbing.
I mean, it's really super
disturbing. I saw a perfect hat that would fit this article. Instead of "Make America Great Again," make Orwellian fiction again.
Instead of making it real. That's good. I like that. Well, I remember a story. I honestly, it took place during the iPhone 4 time frame.
Yes, we're old.
Yeah, well, yeah. So the iPhone 4 time frame. So I guess you're looking at maybe 2010-ish time frame. But I remember there was a child in Thailand where he sold a kidney. He sold one of his kidneys in order to buy an iPhone 4. Later would he, I'm assuming, regret that we're at iPhone 16 and his iPhone 4 is
running out of body parts.
It's is completely worthless by now.
I don't have an anus anymore.
But he did that in order to be able to brag to all of his friends and family that he had an iPhone 4 and he sold one of his kidneys. So, part of, I think, the problem that we have as a society is this reliance on black market organs that are going all around. There's
I think that it's worse than that. We are lacking more and more value of life.
Right. I agree. But there's always been that the dark boogeyman story of going to Thailand or going to Southeast Asia and going out and meeting a girl and you get intoxicated and then all of a sudden you wake up in a bathtub of ice with blood all stitched up and everything and instructions on how to get to a hospital and you're missing a kidney. Now, honestly, why wouldn't they just take both of them? Or why wouldn't they take why not just go ahead and do the whole thing?
Maybe they didn't want to be charged with murder.
I guess so, but you've heard that boogeyman story of tourists going to these places alone and then coming back with not all their body parts. But this is just absolutely crazy. But again, for this to be so close to Halloween, we wanted to release this episode or this segment on Halloween because this is such a scary story.
Mm-hmm. Our own horror segment.
Yeah, exactly. So we saw this. It hasn't gotten a lot of traction, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to get this pushed out. But thanks for tuning into Azimuth Podcast, and please stay tuned after these messages.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy our show with all the stories we share, we would love your support.
And it's as easy as clicking that subscribe or follow button. This will ensure you never miss an episode and keeps us bringing you these important stories. Your support makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for being part of our podcast family.
Thanks, and keep tuning in.